She craves a touch that makes the world fall away. A touch that silences the noise, bends time, and leaves nothing but the feeling of being seen, completely, wordlessly, undeniably. Not a rough grip, not a desperate reach, but the kind of touch that makes her forget where she is, who's watching, or what comes next. A hand that knows exactly where to rest, like it belongs there. Imagine this. Your hand at the small of her back. That single motion sends a spark through her spine. Subtle yet electric, grounding yet thrilling. Your fingers trace a patient line along her hip, not rushing, not asking, just being there. And when your fingertips graze her collarbone, it's not a move, it's an invitation, an unspoken promise that says, I'm here, and you're safe to feel this. Men who understand this art don't chase. They don't beg for attention or validation. They simply own the moment, with stillness, with certainty, with the quiet power of their hands. Because the truth is, mastery in touch isn't about technique. It's about presence. There are 4 places, 4 quiet, magnetic points, that she can't resist, even if she wanted to. And once you learn them, you'll never look at her the same again. More importantly, she'll never forget how you made her feel, not the words, not the looks, but the way her body remembered you. 1. The small of her back. It's one of the most underestimated, yet deeply primal places you can ever touch a woman. Why does it feel so powerful? Because it sits exactly where 2 worlds meet, safety and seduction. When your hand rests there, just above her hips, just below her waist, something shifts. It's not loud, not flashy, but it sends a message that bypasses words entirely. You're with me. I've got you. It's protective, yet undeniably masculine. And women feel that, deeply. It creates a quiet charge, a tension that hums beneath the surface, mixing emotional comfort with physical awareness. Because this spot, that curve between her lower back and her hips, is primal territory. It's close enough to feel intimate, but distant enough to feel safe. And when you touch her there with calm, grounded confidence, it awakens something ancient in her. This touch isn't about control. It's about connection. It's not about possession. It's about presence. Think of it like this. When you guide her through a crowded room, your hand gently settles there. You're not pulling her, you're leading her. When you lean in to whisper something, your palm naturally finds that space, anchoring her in the moment. And when you stand behind her, maybe she doesn't even see you. That single point of contact says everything you don't need to say aloud. You're safe. You're seen. You're mine. Right here. Right now. Most men don't understand the subtlety of that. They rush. They overdo it. Their touch feels clumsy, forced, or too eager, as if they're trying to prove something. But the small of her back doesn't respond to effort. It responds to energy, to stillness, confidence, and restraint. Because the real secret? Women don't just react to where you touch them. They react to who you are when you do it. If you touch her from a place of calm, masculine certainty, if your presence says, I don't need to take, I already belong, then that's the touch that lingers long after your hand is gone. It's not about dominance, it's about depth, and it's the kind of energy that makes her replay that moment over and over in her mind, wondering why such a simple gesture felt so unforgettable. So when your hand rests at the small of her back, do it with intention. Let it say everything words can't. I see you. I'm here. You can relax. Because that's what confidence sounds like without a single sound. And here's something most men never realize. The hand that knows how to comfort also knows how to captivate. You don't need to push. You don't need to chase. When your energy is steady, your touch becomes magnetic. It pulls her in effortlessly. That's why some men seem to leave a mark that never fades. They don't force the connection, they breathe it into existence. Through presence, through patience, through awareness. When she feels your hand there, gentle but certain, her body reads the message instantly. Her breath slows, her guard drops, Her energy opens, because she doesn't just feel your skin, she feels your steadiness. And that's what she remembers. The next time you walk beside her, try it. Don't plan it. Don't think too hard. Just be present. Let your energy lead before your hand even moves. And when it does, keep it simple, calm, and intentional. Because real connection doesn't come from doing more, it comes from being enough. So, before you rush to impress her with words, gifts, or grand gestures, remember this: the smallest touch, done with grounded presence, can speak louder than anything you say. Hold that thought, because what comes next takes it even deeper. The curve of her hip, and why that touch speaks a language all its own. The curve of her hip, that's where the story continues. It's the place where energy meets instinct, where a man's steady touch can speak louder than any words he could ever say. When your hand rests there, it's no longer just touch, it's communication. It's the language of quiet confidence, of direction, of connection that runs deeper than logic. Holding her hand might feel polite, like a gesture of warmth and respect. Touching her face might feel romantic, open, affectionate, tender, but when your hand finds the curve of her hip, something changes. The air shifts, the world slows down, because that touch is primal. It bypasses thought, skips past words, and drops straight into instinct. That's why it doesn't just say, "I'm here." It says, "I'm leading, and I want you right here with me." It's an anchor, grounding, unspoken, magnetic, and she feels it in ways she can't describe. Every time your hand finds that place, when you guide her through a doorway with your hand at her hip, she feels the direction, the quiet assurance. When you pull her slightly closer during a conversation, without saying a word, she feels your intent. And when you're dancing, even if the music fades and the crowd disappears, your hand resting there, firm yet effortless, creates a tension that neither of you can ignore. Why does this happen? Why does that one touch carry such power? Because the hip is symbolic. It's the meeting point where intimacy begins, but doesn't yet claim. It's bold, yet not invasive. It's dominant, yet not forceful. When done right, that touch says it all. You can relax. I'm in control. It tells her she can let go, that she can surrender into the moment without losing herself. And here's the secret most men overlook. This spot doesn't just reveal her response, it reveals yours. It's a mirror. It tests your energy. If you're anxious, she'll feel it instantly. If you're unsure, your touch becomes hesitant, and the connection breaks. If you're too aggressive, her body tenses, her guard rises, and the moment slips away. But if you're grounded, calm, deliberate, intentional, she'll melt into it. Not because of what you did, but because of who you were when you did it. This isn't just about contact. It's about command, not the loud, theatrical kind that tries to prove power, but the quiet, unwavering authority of a man who leads without needing to dominate. A man who doesn't rush to control, he simply guides. And when you touch her like that, she doesn't just notice, she craves it, because what she's really drawn to isn't your hand, it's the steadiness behind it. The way you move through space as if the moment already belongs to you. That's the difference between a touch that's felt and a touch that's remembered. And once she experiences the latter, nothing else feels the same again. Third, her collarbone. It's one of the most overlooked, yet most intimate, places you can ever touch a woman. At first glance, the collarbone might seem subtle, almost insignificant, but touch isn't just about nerves and skin, it's about meaning. And the collarbone, in its quiet vulnerability, carries more meaning than most realize. It's a place of tenderness, a spot where closeness feels personal. This isn't somewhere strangers touch. It's not casual, it's reserved for connection. That's why, when your fingers trace lightly along her collarbone, whether playfully, intentionally, or in a moment of stillness, it ignites something deeper than surface attraction. Because that touch whispers a different message. I see you. I'm close enough to feel you. but controlled enough not to take more than this moment allows. And that balance, of intimacy without possession, is magnetic. It draws her in without pressure. It invites her closer without demand. Why does it work? Because the collarbone exists at a unique intersection between exposure and defense. It's close to the heart and lungs, the most vital parts of the body, the ones we instinctively protect. But it's also beautifully visible, highlighted when she wears a dress, an off-shoulder top, or even simple workout clothes. That duality makes it psychologically charged, vulnerable yet confident, delicate yet daring. It's not a place you grab. It's a place you approach with awareness. Touching her collarbone isn't about claiming. It's not about taking. It's about acknowledging, saying without words, I know this moment matters. Because the collarbone doesn't just connect the shoulder to the chest, it connects emotion to presence. When you trace your fingers there, you're not just touching her body. You're touching the invisible boundary between trust and temptation. And when done right, it's not about lust, it's about recognition. The most powerful touches are the ones that make her feel seen, not taken. They awaken not her body alone, but her awareness, that quiet sense of, he gets it. And that's why this kind of touch lingers. Not because it's bold, but because it's intentional. Because it feels like you're not reaching for her body, you're reaching for her presence. Every woman knows that difference. She may not be able to explain it, but she feels it, instantly. So, the next time your fingers brush her collarbone, don't think of it as a move. Think of it as a moment, a pause in time that says, I'm here, I see you, and I know how to be still with you. Because in the end, that's what the most magnetic men understand. Power doesn't come from how much you touch. It comes from how deeply your touch speaks. And just when you think it can't get any more intimate, there's one final place that reveals it all, her neck. Once you understand that deep connection doesn't come from intense actions, but from stillness, from the way you are fully present in every moment, then touching her collarbone becomes the next step. Not to possess, not to prove anything, but to be present, close, gentle, in a space most men never dare to approach. The collarbone, that fragile place between her neck and shoulder, is something special. It isn't about flesh, it's about energy. A touch there, if done with calmness and precision, can speak louder than words. It sends a quiet message. I'm confident enough to be this close, and patient enough not to cross the line. That patience, when paired with presence, always stirs something deep within her. So, how do you do it right? The secret lies in subtlety. Not grabbing, not claiming, but grazing, intentionally, softly. Like a breeze brushing across still water. Picture this. You're sitting beside her. The light is soft. The air between you is warm, but filled with silence. You reach to adjust her necklace, a tiny, effortless gesture. Your fingertips brush gently against her collarbone as you do. You lean closer. Whisper something low enough that your breath blends into hers. Your fingers stay there for just a heartbeat, before you pull away. That moment, that's what she remembers. Not the force, not the length, but the timing. Because what makes it powerful isn't the act, it's the afterglow. She won't remember that you touched her. She'll remember that you left too soon. That unfinished feeling lingers, like a melody that ends before the final note, making her want to replay it over and over again. And when your touch moves to the outside of her thigh, the energy shifts from subtle to grounded. Because that place isn't just physical, it's primal. It's the boundary where touch gains weight, where your energy says without words, I'm here. I'm steady. I'm not going anywhere. It's not a handhold. It's not a polite graze. It's an anchored presence, enough for her to feel it, even without you saying a thing. Why does this touch feel so magnetic? Because it lives between safety and desire, between being protected and being wanted. When you're walking beside her, your hand rests lightly on the outside of her thigh, not moving, not claiming, just there. It's like a silent whisper. I'm here. You don't have to try. Picture it again. You're sitting next to her, in a car, at a quiet bar, or on the couch. The world around you hums softly. But when your hand rests on the outside of her thigh, light, yet firm, the noise fades away. No one says a word, but both of you understand. The touch doesn't wander. It doesn't seek. It simply exists. And in that stillness, energy speaks. That's the moment she feels she can exhale. She can relax. She can lean in, not because she has to, but because your steadiness is enough for both of you. This kind of touch is powerful, not because it does anything, but because it communicates what words never could. It doesn't ask for permission, not out of arrogance, but out of natural belonging. It doesn't grope or grab. It simply fits the moment, perfectly aligned, quietly intentional. When a man understands this, he no longer tries to impress. His silence, paired with a deliberate, grounded touch, is enough to make her feel safe, connected, and undeniably drawn to him. And that's where it all happens, in the space between patience and presence. Between subtlety and strength, you create an energy she won't forget. No grand gestures, no dramatic words, just you, fully present, real, calm, doing less, yet moving her heart more than anyone else could.